This is Pat Freeman back here on the network with my buddy Chris Stevenson. How you doing, Chris?
What's going on, Pat?
Once again, we are back focusing on election 2012, and the campaign, as it is beginning to shape up, has become basically, no doubt, a referendum on the attack on President Obama's administration and how they are trying to make him seem like he's out of touch and has hurt the economy of this nation, when in actuality he saved the economy of the United States of America when it was in one of its worst crises since the Great Depression. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. The thing about it, I like how they turn everything around. You know, they accuse Obama of things that they do themselves. Okay, they give him conservative attributes. They say he's Nazi-like, he's a fascist. You know, now they're saying he's out of touch. Okay, you know, and every time he signs something, a bill that shows he's in touch, they want to fight him.
Right.
Okay, so you know you can't have it both ways. You really can't.
It's funny, 4 years ago, the attack on him was that he was a foreign policy lightweight. He would not be able to handle the pressure of modern day terrorism and the threat to the United States of America. Well, I hate to tell you people this. He's done a better job than any of you would ever imagine.
Yeah.
He said he would get Osama. Didn't he get Osama?
He got him.
He got all of the top lieutenants of the terrorist organization that they are begging for Mitt Romney to win this election.
Yep. And you know the thing about it, I remember, because when you talk about foreign policy, every time there's a black leader, a black prominent individual who does something significant with foreign leaders, I used to hear, when I was living in Rochester, I had a white guy, he was a friend of mine, Italian. He would say, oh, he doesn't know foreign policy. When Jesse Jackson freed hostages on a couple of occasions,
right.
He said, Jackson, you know, and Jackson was running for president around that time also. And he would always tell me, he says, oh, Jackson doesn't know foreign policy. I said, he just freed some hostages.
Right.
Yeah, but he still doesn't know foreign policy. I said, well, ask the people he freed if he knows foreign policy. But this is a mental, a part of their brain shuts down when they see this blatantly. This person handles foreign policy better than even the president at the time, Reagan, or these people did, and he got some people freed. What miffed them is that Jackson could go up to these people like Castro and some of these other South American leaders and talk to them, and they could have direct one-on-one conversation. And Reagan, they didn't have that same openness with Reagan.
Right.
Okay, that's foreign policy in itself. It's just personal relationship. That's it. So you know you got the same thing here with Obama. Obama does a lot of things that a lot of presidents dream of doing. You know, Bush wishes he had gotten Bin Laden like that.
Right.
You know, or you know, Bush got Saddam, but Saddam didn't do anything.
Right.
He didn't do it. You know, he was responsible for 9/11.
Didn't do anything.
So when you talk about foreign policy, you got to be specific. What do you mean? Okay, that's number one. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it is funny that at every turn of the criticism of President Obama, he has done everything that they could not. And they love to praise Clinton. Clinton failed at more during his administration than President Obama could even think about. There was more negative about the Clinton years than what people are ready to admit. They want to praise him for the economy. He had 4 straight balanced budgets. That he did very well. But President Obama brought this country back from the brink of absolute disaster, lost more than 800,000 jobs before he could take the oath of office. And at every turn, they have fought against him like you have never seen before. It is nothing what they did to Bill Clinton as compared to what they've done to President Obama.
No, there's no comparison. There's no comparison.
Yeah, nasty.
Yeah, it is. What I've noticed is what bothers me is how they brainwash people. Okay, mostly conservatives, of course, but you know, quite a few liberals out there. They've made them turn on Obama. Okay, the last time we talked about this, last week, I put that post on one page. I think it's called the Obama versus Romney page, and it's probably up to 300 hits by now of people discussing, debating this. And one guy in particular, I think his name is Brian, whatever, he just went on and on about Obama couldn't do any right to him.
Right.
And I said, this is a guy that's been listening to too much Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity, okay, and he just took everything he wrapped everything that they had been saying and just spouted it out, okay? And several of us he held an argument with, I talked with him for maybe a half hour or so. The rest, everybody was debating from all day long. He had various people debating with him all day long. And he just would not recognize anything Obama did, and he blames Obama for all the job losses and everything, you know. So when you talk about domestic policy or foreign policy, people need to know how to clearly identify what these things are and what role specifically did Obama play in making things worse. Okay, because things were bad when, like you say, things were bad when he got in office.
It was at the brink of absolute collapse. He saved Wall Street, for one. He saved the banking industry. He basically has brought the housing industry back from absolute, total collapse. And he saved the auto industry, saving more than 1.35 million jobs worldwide was done by President Obama. And he's worked in a world economy, whereas other presidents from before him worked in more or less an economy more or less dictated on a national level. Whereas President Obama, his administration is one of the first administrations that has been totally dictated to by a world economic index. And that means if something goes wrong in Europe, it affects our markets here. If something goes wrong in Asia, it affects our markets here. And that's what people don't realize. The positive growth of this economy has been due to the right decisions of the Obama administration. Now, if you're ready to switch gears and go back to a Mitt Romney idea stream, which is similar to that of George Bush, who got you in this mess anyway, then something is wrong with America other than looking at politics and economics. And we have to then say, is this because President Obama is black? And
that's the core of the whole thing. That's the crux of this whole discussion. You understand?
Yes.
That's the crux of this whole discussion. If Obama were a white president, okay, would he be having all this opposition?
No.
Okay, you know, would he have all these haters that he has going on right now? You know,
Not to this level.
no, not to this level.
President Clinton's first 4 years were basically very similar to President Obama's as far as trying to bring a nation back from 4 bad years of Bush 1. Nothing compared to Bush 2. Right. Bush 2 took this nation to the brink of absolute disaster, putting us in the middle of 2 unwinnable wars that President Obama had to inherit. The financial sector, he deregulated it so that the financial sector was at the brink of absolute collapse. This is what he started with. What do you must say from 4 years ago, are you better off? The answer is you know you are.
Yeah.
1% of America, probably not.
Right.
But the 99% of Americans in this country, you know you are better off, even if things are still not where you would want them to be, but they are a lot better than what you used to be. This country was at the brink of absolute collapse.
Yeah. And I remember, going back to your Clinton analogy, I remember all of the heat that Clinton took, and a lot of that was race-based.
Yes.
Even though Bill is a white guy, you know, white president. Bill went under a lot of heat because he really he brought in a lot of black cabinet people and high officials, black officials.
Right.
You know, that as soon as he brought them in, there was a campaign to get rid of them. Okay, there was an organized, concerted campaign to push them away. That was a lot of it. And Bill says, I want to have an administration that reflects real America.
Right.
He was basically telling my administration is going to look just like America looks. When you look out the window, you're going to look at my administration.
Right.
You know, you don't see, when you look out the window, you don't see all white. You see all types of people in various positions. Therefore, that's the way my administration is going to look, and that's the way he did it. But they attacked him. A lot of that they really hated him for that. Okay, now you talk about this other things you brought up, as far as the economy is concerned. Because Sean Hannity was asking a couple of days ago, are we better off as we were 4 years ago? Yes, we are. Yes, we are better off.
Yes.
They want you to be able. They want you to say no. We're not better off than we did.
How could they?
Yeah.
How can you even ask a question like that? Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? You should stand up and say, yes.
Yes.
This country was at the brink. Where's the discussion of saving the marketplace? Where's the discussion of a stimulus now to stimulate the infrastructure, which was at a point of absolute collapse? That was all handled by Obama.
Yeah.
All handled.
Yep.
Where was there 32 million people now that did not have any health insurance, but now have health insurance?
Yeah.
That's Obama.
That's Obama.
Osama bin Laden, you didn't know where he was under Bush because him and the Bush administration were partners in the company called Airbusto. He wasn't trying to find his business partner. He said, stay hidden and keep the money flowing.
Yeah.
But Obama went and found him. He found all of their top lieutenants. He has closed down the war in Iraq, one that he couldn't win anyway, and has stabilized that country. How can you not say you're not better off than 4 years ago, unless you're doing crack?
We no longer have soldiers coming back in body bags at the rate that we had before.
On a daily basis.
On a daily basis,
Afghanistan war is winding down, trying to stabilize that country.
Yeah.
An unwinnable war against a war that's been going on for thousands of years. Bush went over there acting like he could win it.
Mm-hmm.
The Russians couldn't win it. What makes you think you could win it? Exactly. You've been there almost the same amount of time, and you're still going to lose that war.
Yep.
You can't make people do what they don't want.
You can't go into the desert. These people are buried under the sand, waiting for you, waiting for you to cross the line.
Yeah, you can't win those wars.
You can't win. You just
can
cannot
kill
win.
Thousands of them, and they're just going to keep coming.
Yep.
They're never going to quit.
Never going to quit. Been fighting Jewish people for thousands of years. You're nothing to them.
Yeah.
Say, okay.
Romney wants to bring you back to 4 years ago, and you're considering voting for him? Why? Because you don't like Obama because he's black. Face it. That is the bottom line. If he was white, there wouldn't even be an issue in this election.
No, it's not. No, it wouldn't be.
Wouldn't be an issue. All of you that don't like him, you would have to admit that he's done a job of jobs saving this country. And he started even before he took office. It's ridiculous what is being said. It's hateful, and it shows that racism, Chris, is an issue that has not been discussed or dealt with in this country.
Oh, yeah.
And every time they bring it up, they cover it up and put it under the table.
Very true. And you don't want Romney. Those of you who are voting for Romney, you even if you're white, you better. This is what's the old saying? Be careful what you ask for. When you vote Romney in, this guy's a Mormon. Okay, understand the Mormon beliefs. Okay, if there's anything obscure, we know how Mormons felt about blacks, and it was a law for them to think that blacks were inferior and cursed. And I think even Chris Rock talked about it a couple of days ago on one of the late night talk shows, and he says, "Hey, up until 1978, these guys thought we were the devil."
Right.
Okay, so. Well, you don't know what Mormons think of the rest of America yet. All right, so you think, we just want that black out the White House. Be careful what you ask for when it comes to Romney. All right, that's all I can say. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to talk about this more and more as it gets closer to Election Day. But it won't be our subject every week. But we'll be dealing with various subjects involving this nation and the community in which we serve, and certainly we hope that those of you that are out there start thinking twice about where you were 4 years ago. And do you realize that this nation was at the brink of absolute collapse? And when President Obama's name is mentioned in history, he will be known as the one that saved the United States of America from the brink of absolute collapse.
Absolute collapse. And don't take that lightly. Don't take that lightly.
And it's funny, 4 years later, you've forgotten about it. He can't mention the Bush administration. Why not? Bush administration was a disaster at every level. It had more corruption at every level. High crimes and murder. Corruption on Wall Street. Corruption in the banking industry. Corruption in the homeowning industry. Corruption at every single level was the Bush administration. The Obama administration came in and accepted the responsibility of helping to rebuild America. Now, his first 4 years, he has put you in a position to rebuild yourself with positive job growth over the last 27 months. Is it as much as he would like? No. But it's more than what you had 4 years ago. For the last 27 months, you have added more jobs than you've lost. Are these reports coming in once a month what we are hoping for, what they should be? No, they never should be that way. But you cannot say, are you better off 4 years ago? When you ask that question, you better say HELL, yes, and vote for President Obama for his re-election based on his job performance and not based on the color of his skin.
And don't think about putting those leaks on Obama either. This rumor going around about Obama's trying to the White House is responsible for these intelligence leaks because Obama wants to because it's campaign time and he's trying to improve his chances for election. You know, this two-prong leak where one has to do with his hit list or whatever, the other one has to do with the Iranian cyber attacks, whatever. Now, Friedman right here might be responsible for that because he knew about that way back when. So you might be there might be a drone ringing your doorbell tonight or whatever. I don't know.
Hey,
but, you know,
cyber warfare. Obama administration has become proficient at implementing one of the best cyber warfare plans known to humanity. One of the first, and they basically inhibited the Iranian nuclear program in cyberspace. That is something that most of you don't even know about. And that was all done by President Barack Obama. This guy has done a phenomenal job under the most adverse circumstances. Has he done a perfect job? No, nobody has. But to say that he doesn't have a clue or he's out of touch with America, these are statements being made by the Romney campaign group and some of these other Tea Party whack jobs that are out there. Mm-hmm. You're a bunch of liars. And you have not told the truth on what has not been done. He would have accomplished 99% more if Congress had not made up their mind. And they have said it publicly that they would not pass any legislation that would help re-elect President Obama, and that means putting you back to work to help your families. And they have inhibited his success by trying to get him out of office by sacrificing your life and not passing legislation that would help put America back to work. That is the evil of some of the people in this country that just want power and control.
You know, that's a very vicious obstinacy or something that they harbor in order to do this. I mean, you think about this, and we're going to hold back huge measures for petty reasons.
Right.
Okay? What type of person does, what type of human being does that?
Right.
So these people are suspect from the standpoint of moral character. They're very suspect. So you want them to be in charge of the White House and then, you know, to run the world, the free world at large. You're asking for a lot.
A lot.
You know, we're in big trouble if you do that.
The neocons are eager to get back in power and have influence over the world. The Rumsfelds, the Wolfowitz, the Cheneys, all of them want power back, and they will do anything to regain power in the White House so they can re-implement their plan to control the world. If that's what you want to vote for and you want to be under their thumb, then something is really wrong with you. Well, Chris, give out your blog spots. We will be back on the network next week, but the best blog spot on cyberspace, give it to them, Chris.
TheBuffaloBullet.com. and make sure you check it out. We got some great columnists on there, including my man, Mr. Freeman himself, Charles M. Blow of the New York Times, Alberta Parrish, Gloria Doolin Wilson, and the great Alton Maddox, the former attorney, who is a great legal mind. You know,
Right.
all of us, we contribute to that effort and give you information that you're not necessarily always used to reading when you read your average daily paper. So if you want to really, really know, you want some real commentary, some fearless commentary, no holds barred, check out the BuffaloBullet.com.
And you can see all of our videos on clbTV with
Yes.
the mastermind Curtis Black in charge of all of that production. All right, we'll be back here on the network next week. Tune in to the network. I'm Pat Freeman and my buddy Chris Stevenson.
All right.